great athlete. He wants to be really good. He wants to be a great player. Match committee just thought that he was the person to do the job. And, tonight it worked out that way, so it was a great performance by him.
Last quarter, for 3 quarters you were beaten in clearances. Last quarter, at one stage you had a 16-0 advantage and you end up winning the clearances for the game. What turned that around so convincingly in the last stanza?
I know Paul Hamilton made a special request to the midfield and the ruckman at 3-quarter time, 16-2 I think it ended up, which is huge change around for us. And that went a long way to us winning the game. It needs to be recognised that, with the injury to Brogan, I think Lade, started to tire. The other thing I also thought, Andrew, tonight was our contested ball. I think it was plus 23 or something. So, in a big game of footy, when that's really on the line, for our guys to have that differential was a credit to them.
Given the pressure that the side's been under and your form and the criticism and the fact you were down 2 goals at 3-quarter time, do you think the last quarter effort was really a statement by the players in some way?
Well, actually, our form the last, last month hasn't. We recognise it hasn't been great. The effort is what you saw tonight was probably the effort that we've been talking about that we've needed for a period of time, and it hasn't been that far off from what we've seen in the last month. But it makes a big difference to the actual game. It's probably only 2 to 3, 5% more. So, statement, no. All that says is something about the culture of our footy club. So if that's a statement by the players, they develop that they own that. So, you can talk about it, but in the end, what your supporters want to see is some action. And, what a better night to put it on show.
Neil, can you talk us through the pre-match? Obviously, Michael Dowdy coming in for Nathan Bock, and I believe Luke Jericho was taken out of the Norwood side as well.
Yeah, Nathan Bock pulled out yesterday, Ian, which we spoke about at the press conference. Didn't actually name Nathan, but he was one player that was under doubt. There were a couple of others. And probably the way it turned out, we might have been a bit heavy, a bit tall anyway, with Nathan and Ian Perry. So whilst it was bad luck for Nathan, it might have just helped us a little bit. So then the decision was to either bring in Jericho or Bryce Campbell or Mick Dowdy, and we went for Michael. Once again, as we spoke yesterday, probably just with Port's ability to go really small up forward, we just thought we just needed a bit more defensive cover. So that's why Michael got the nod.
On Bryce Campbell, why was he only given 1 week? If he was eligible, if he wasn't.
Yeah, we spoke about that yesterday, John, on that, about the selection of Bryce. What I saw of Bryce against Essendon, I liked. Okay, so he certainly demonstrated to me he's got some characteristics that will enable him to play, I think, a lot of AFL football. But in the end, some of the just going into this game for what we thought we needed to win this game, that went against Bryce. So there were some positions that we needed some guys to play, and Richard Douglas and Paul Pleasure, but particularly Richard Douglas and also Mick Dowdy tonight, that Bryce is probably not, we don't think, capable of playing at the moment. And I certainly don't want to put players in an environment that is out of their depth early in their career. So I'm hopeful that Bryce will get some more footy this year.
You've got to offset that against some confusion in the young man's mind. 1 week out the next.
No, I disagree with that, John, totally. No confusion in his mind about why that occurred. None whatsoever.
It seems that other clubs this year have been giving their kids, 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Confusion in Bryce's mind. Do you know differently to that?
Only in the kid may wonder what he has to do.
I'm saying that Bryce was very clear about why that occurred. Are you suggesting he wasn't clear?
No, I'm not.
You've done better tonight than say wasn't there in the last 3 weeks.
I think that little bit extra effort, Michelangelo, it makes a huge difference, and it can be, the ball that's a metre from you and myself, and someone's got to win it. And I thought that was on show tonight. And we've had patches of it, but it was much more consistent tonight. Now our challenge as a club is to keep that going and play with that sort of intensity because we need to. So I think that was the major difference, particularly in the conditions. Plus, I thought once again our defensive action. I think inside 50s were 56, 57 to 40. So our ability to go forward, but to restrict Port as well. Such an attacking side was very good.
When you had the defensive setups, if they went for 4 forwards or 5 forwards, and you had the extra or the extra 2, what was your instruction to your extra defender who was loose? What licence did you give him?
The key thing there is just their positioning. And so, I mean, you're always in that decision, whether you send your backman up or whether you sit them back. And that's always a decision you've got to make throughout any game. But it's mainly about positioning.
How do you feel Jason trying to use that licence then if he was the one who was left loose to just go forward and kick those goals?
Jason Thorne's an experienced defender, and so he has that licence to make a decision on his positioning, and if he sees an opportunity to attack, to do that.
I'm surprised to ask why that extra effort wasn't there maybe in the past 3 weeks when there's been big games. Did it take a Showdown to bring that extra bit out of them, or the fact that they're on their last chance this year? Or
who knows, Andrew? I mean, it's Showdown is a big game for this town, and for the 2 clubs involved. So I would if you're going to get it, you'd sort of think both clubs would put it on show in a game like tonight. It's been pretty much inconsistent all year. So as I said, our challenge, it doesn't mean that we've turned the corner in that area, but what it does, it still demonstrates to our supporters that the capacity to produce it is still there, irrespective of who plays. And we've still got a lot of people out of our side, but it doesn't matter who plays. That's the expectation.
The conditions were terrible early on, but Port seemed to have better skills. You guys, not just conversion, but just generally their entry into attack was slightly better. Did you do any adjustment at half time or say anything that led to improvements in the second half?
No, your observation, Andrew, I think is correct. I thought Port's ability to handle the ball early was a lot better than theirs. It was a very high standard. But I think the thing that changed that after the first quarter was just a repositioning of some of our defenders. I thought enabled us to put some more pressure on them.
Neil, you talked about consistency. What do you then do this week about that? I guess given that you pretty much have to go on a consistent run of wins to keep the season going.
Well, we will do exactly the same, Daniel, as if we'd lost the game. We push on with in our preparation. We'll do an analysis tomorrow and Monday, and we push on with trying to achieve a standard that we want in this football club. And we're still a way off. It's hard to get a real handle on execution and skills tonight because of the conditions, and we spoke about that yesterday, that we're not at the level that we want, and we want to get back to the level or even higher. So nothing changes. We just push on.
Is it a case of not savouring the win too much, thinking about next week?
No, we're ready to go. We've started preparing for Geelong pretty much in our debriefing. So.
Given Nick Gill's goal kick last week, what went through your mind when he took that great mark and lined up?
What went through yours, Sam?
Pretty happy, and first time I've heard Craig get a bit short with one of the.
Well, it was a silly question, wasn't it? Asking about Bryce Campbell. He had 4 goes at it, didn't he? At the question, and Neil gave him same answer 4 times.
Okay, 8223 00. That's our number. We'll hear from Mark Williams very, very shortly, and we'll come back and take your call. Stay with us. This is 5AA AFL.
If you're after an auto part, used, rebuilt or new, call Hotline 40 and cut through. Just one call to Hotline 40 puts you in touch with millions of parts for thousands of different cars and commercial vehicles. Call 131740 and you'll be connected to your closest Hotline 40 member. Ask for your part, and if they don't have it, well, they'll put you in touch with a store that does. So for that auto part, used, rebuilt or new, call Hotline 40 and cut through. Hotline 40, they've got the part for you. 131740. That's 131740.
Hotline40.com.au. Here's another reason to switch to Allianz. It's a fact, Allianz offers some of the most competitive rates around for both car and home insurance, so you won't have to pay too much. Call Allianz on 131000, Australia's Best General Insurer 2006, as named by Australian Banking and Finance Insurance Awards. That's 131000. Allianz, insurance solutions from A to Z. Call us for a product disclosure statement to see if Allianz is right for you.
Phil Hoffman Travel and Fiveaa are giving you the chance to join an exclusive charter on the luxurious ship Rhapsody of the Sea. Fly free to Sydney, then cruise to Singapore and enjoy 16 magnificent nights aboard your floating resort. Explore Brisbane, the Whitsundays and Cairns, then cruise to exotic Asia and visit Komodo, Lombok, Bali and Singapore. Then fly home free from Singapore. Early bird prices from only $2,498 per person, all inclusive. This strictly limited offer must be booked by August 10th. Phil Hoffman Travel, Glenelg, Norwood and Stirling.
What's the best way to keep warm in winter? Cuddling up with that special someone, of course. And why not do it in style at the Pacific International Suites Adelaide with their Fox and Socks package. A night's accommodation, a bottle of Fox Creek Shiraz, brekkie for two in the restaurant, and 2 pairs of logo bed socks to help you snuggle. All for just $199. The Fox and Socks package. Beat winter with some hot romance. Call the Pacific International Suites Adelaide.
If we win this year, we're going on the ultimate end-of-season trip. With any Whopper Variety or Whopper Variety value meal and the 2007 Toyota AFL Grand Final. Plus, there's daily prizes. Grand Final, here we come.
The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
Competition closes 060807. Full terms and conditions at hungrydjacks.com.au. SA permit number T072269. AFL code GF AFL 0774.
This is Saturday Night Footy Live on Adelaide's #1 football station, 5AAFL.
Yes, welcome back to AAMI Stadium. The Crows home by 8 points in Showdown 23. This is our match review for Clean Made. We'll hear from Choco very shortly, but take your calls, 8223 There's the number. Matthew, welcome.
Hi, KG. How are you?
Very good, thank you, Matthew.
No, congratulations, Gage. Hey, mate, listen, look, this is quickly my point. Before I make some quick points, I just want to I have the passion of the same passion my little 3-year-old girl has about Port Adelaide. Alicia was with me tonight. She loves Port Adelaide. She was kind of sort of clapping when everyone else was clapping, and I'm saying, no, it's not our turn, it's not our turn. But anyway, what happened was that at the end of the game, I told her Power lost, but that's okay. She went, Power lost, go Power, go Power. She loves Port Adelaide. So Port Adelaide supporters have the passion that all the Port kids have there. They love their club. They don't bag Port Adelaide. Just look at the tactics. Now, talking about tactics, Josh, hey, we have a run that's funny because we've got Carlton and Fremantle, I think, will win. Hawthorn's a test. Geelong will probably spank us. I just think that it's almost a false reality going into the finals. I just hope we don't meet a side like Sydney. I doubt we'll meet Adelaide. I don't think they'll make the 8, unfortunately, with their last 4 games. But that must be frustrating as a Crow supporter. But, I don't want to talk about them. I want to talk about Port Adelaide. I just feel, what do you think about the kind of false reality and how we can probably make, the top 4 or 5 or 6? But, are we going to be exposed in finals time?
Up to you, Josh. Thanks, Matthew. You, Josh.
Cheers.
Yeah, Look, Matthew, I tend to agree with you in a sense that I think if you look over the last 4 weeks, Port Adelaide, they haven't really come up against stiff opposition. And I think if that's what you're alluding to, then tonight was definitely going to be a big test for them. And unfortunately, they didn't get over the line. And as I said post-game, that it probably does create a few questions. And the question that has to be asked, are Port Adelaide actually capable of
come the major round
and turning it on when it actually really counts, when the pressure and the intensity will lift another 2 or 3, or another notch on tonight.
Well, you want a fast track, they might be a little bit better too. They need to win 3 of the next 4, Matthew. Thanks for your call. Let's go to David. Hi, David.
G'day, fellas. How you going?
Good,
Dave.
thanks.
Look, Crow supporter, very happy. Bit hoarse. Look, I just thought it was a fantastic effort in the game that I really didn't expect to win, even though I picked them in my footy tips, but I am struggling, so those things sort of happen. But look, 2 things. One thing I was really, really pleased to see was some changes made. To see Perry down back was just something different. I was starting to think that Craig was going down the old Gary Ayres track where...
Yeah, but hang on, David. Perry played down back last week too.
Yeah, but I think it just looked a better matchup today than it did last week. We just looked like a bit of a mess, and as a Port supporter, as much as I don't really love them that much, did say last week that you can't blame injuries when your scores are level at the 25-minute mark and you lose a game. It's not an injury. But the other thing I wanted to say was I think people should have a look at the video at the end of the game when the siren blown and have a look what the Port players did. They turned their backs and all walked off to the corner there and did shake hands, and it was all the Crow supporters around us were really pretty peed off about seeing the way that they just walked off. Not really not a good sign and really indicative of what the difference is between the two clubs and the class between them.
Yeah, hang on. Port Adelaide players stayed on the ground during the presentations.
Oh, yeah, they sat there, but they didn't shake hands. Barely a player turned around and shook his opponent's hand. Pretty poor, I thought.
David, I got the opinion, so what? If you don't shake hands, so what? You can say it's a sore loser, but at the end of the day,
you're
disappointed. Out there playing a battle, you're disappointed. The last thing I would do as a player is go around trying to shake as many hands as I can. You can say that's bitter, and I shouldn't, but bad luck.
Thanks, David, for your call. Hello, Trevor.
How you going, boys?
Good, thanks.
Listen, Power fan. Just one thing I wanted to check out was, firstly, do you think that by Mark Williams making us provide the flood tired the boys out? Because a lot of the time they were coming through, and when the ball came out in the rebound, there was none of us there. There was a couple of occasions even when Pearce was sort of tried to fade out a little bit, kicked the ball down and we got to nobody. I thought it was a bit of a bad move by Mark Williams. I just wanted to get your opinion on it, like to keep going with the flood all the time.
Yeah, look, Trevor, that's always the danger, is when a side does flood, if there is a turnover in the defensive 50,
it
basically the result is that you come out and you've actually got no one to kick to. So what that actually happens too is it causes Port Adelaide, or whoever the side is, to actually kick sideways. They've got to slow the ball up until there's actually someone, because if they don't slow it up and they don't allow players to get back, then you've got no one to kick to.
That was evident in the last quarter here when there were so many Crows players by themselves, Josh.
Yeah, look, and I think what Trevor's also alluding to is the fact that if you do it for the duration of the game, every time you get a touch inside in the defensive 50, you've just got to sprint your guts out to get there to be a target. And perhaps, Port Adelaide ran out.
Probably harder to break lines tonight, Josh, given the weather too.
Yeah.
You can't really control the ball. Was it a dry? Yeah, you normally hit a target with a dry footy.
Yep.
Thanks very much, Trevor. 822300 is our number.
Let's go to Paul, all the way from Kansas City in the USA. Hi, Paul. How are you?
G'day, guys. How you going?
Good, thanks.
Are you actually in Kansas City?
Got up at 4:15 this morning and switched the internet on and heard your call, fellas, so great job.
Are you a Crow supporter or Port supporter?
No, Crow support, actually. I left Adelaide about a week and a half ago, and the last game I went to was the Crows against St Kilda over at the Telstra Dome.
Oh, yeah.
I shattered after that game because I just thought Adelaide had lost a lot of confidence, and I just didn't see the boys making their way into the final, so I was just wrapped that they got through tonight.
Well, it was a gutsy win tonight, Paul. How long are you over there for?
I've got another week here. KG just been in Reno, Nevada for a week, and Kansas here for a week, just doing some study in the area of staff wellbeing in schools. So head across to the UK next, and about 3 or 4 weeks over there. So certainly missing my wife Belinda and the boys. So a big g'day to them, and also to the school communities, St Pius and St Bridget's back there in Adelaide. So
good on you, Paul. We've got to go to Mark Williams. Thanks for that, mate. Have a great time in the US. So let's go to Mark Williams' press conference.
Choco coming in 1 moment's time.
I think we got the sort of game we expected. It was going to be a very... Do you want to wait for that to go back? It was a very competitive game. To be in front of three-quarter time was a good position to be in, but we got absolutely smashed at stoppages in the last quarter. Probably left Lady hanging out to dry too long during the game. Obviously the broken thing was disappointing for us. It's just a little thing of fate, I suppose. It's pretty hard to prepare for those sort of things, but the boys, they battled on. It was a battle all night. They stuck at it a little bit longer than us, and 8 points, tough night. That's how it is. They were obviously playing for their season. I suppose we'd like to think that it had the same amount of same motivational factor as us, but obviously they were playing for finals and we weren't.
Do you now reflect back on the previous 3 weeks and say maybe it wasn't the best way to prepare for this sort of game?
Oh, no, I think if you're up by three-quarter time, you're probably in the game, and certainly we were in the game, and no one can convince me otherwise that it was going to be a game like that, whether we'd played another team prior to the last three or not, but that's how they were going to play, and as I said, I thought they stuck out a little bit longer, but we'll get up for next week.
What do you think they were able to push harder and deeper into your defence than you could into theirs?
Well, it's stoppages, you have to win the stoppages, and that's where we did it.
How much did the Brogan loss hurt the team?
Well, it's difficult. You like to find out, what are the things that are positives or advantages to your side, and we certainly thought that that might be a advantage to us sometime during the night, and obviously it also, with Treadrow being out, it made that Lade had to play on ball all the time rather than play forward, so it affected our ability to go forward as well.
And Bentley played. No, Bentley played 3 quarters in reserves today. I mean, how difficult was him to come into the side after doing that?
Look, that's tough. We looked around the room to see who we thought was the most appropriate, and Ben's, he filled in okay for us. We didn't play him very often, very much tonight. As I said, it doesn't happen very often in footy, but you'd like to be a bit better prepared than we were tonight.
How did it actually unfold with Brogan?
Well, I'm sitting in the room and someone's walked in and said Brogan has picked the ball up off the ground and hurt his back. So it was a little, this is 5 minutes before we're going out. So a little hard to plan for that sort of stuff. No excuses.
Does it mean you might keep a player back in the future for this situation, or just
most of the times, there's someone that hasn't played, but that would probably be a good idea. You'd like to think that you can keep players playing and available to give themselves an opportunity to be selected the week after because they've played, but it's certainly, in our 10 years it's probably happened twice, or 11 years it's happened twice, so I'm not sure what those odds are.
Mark, is that just a glitch, or does it make you have to reassess on is it possible that Port has got in front of herself for the second time this season?
I'm not sure, that would be to undervalue Adelaide's effort and Adelaide's performance. I think that they played well and played like a side still interested in playing finals. So to be up at 3/4 time and to be very competitive all night would say that I don't think we got ahead of ourselves.
You led clearances convincingly for 3 quarters and was smashed, I think 16-2 in the last quarter.
Yeah. What happened there? Well, it'll be interesting to watch. I'm not sure. I'd have to say, obviously Lady got tired, gave a few free kicks away that resulted in goals, so they got a little head of steam up. And we tried to rotate a few players through there that might make a difference, but no one really could seem to do that.
How did you keep assessing whether you put someone on Tawny or left him loose back there and allow him to run forward?
Well, I suppose it was looking at the score more than anything, as to, obviously it had an effect of our inside 50s, but when we went inside 50 we scored really well, so you look at the percentages and we continually looked at it, and obviously it meant that we had an opportunity to stop there. You can talk about their scores, but I think nine points we scored for them, and that's because we had extra players. So, that's, I suppose, a tactical battle, and in the end they were 8 points in front.
Mate, you take a positive out of that being cleaner going into attack for perhaps the first 3 quarters in Brett and Justin's games?
Look, I thought they played pretty well. I thought our tall defenders played pretty well as well. They were pretty good. There was the fact is, it's raining. It's tough for forwards. That's what happens in those sort of conditions. So, there were some positives, and as you said, with Westy kicking 3 and Evo 4, they keep their form going, which is great. And, in very trying conditions for forwards.
How do you assess the Chad Corns, the Van Gerlo, Goodwin, Stevens matchup?
Well, Chad didn't have the influences he had on a lot of games, but still had quite a quite a few possessions, played with his usual, care for the side. He really, tries hard. He can't carry us every week though. I didn't think enough people helped him around the ball.
Conditions work against him too. Obviously, being wet, it took their time marking out of the play.
Well, I suppose if you look at Adelaide's best recent win was against Hawthorn in the rain. I think they won by 70 points or something.
Yeah.
So you can see that their style works really effectively in the rain, and as I said, we have to battle at it. And as I say, September it's usually dry.
How do you reflect on that Western Bulldogs game where you didn't get a score at the end? This one you don't get a score at the end. Is there a common theme in that?
No, I think we've won 2 or 3 games by less than 10 points, and I think over our journey, somewhere I read recently that over the 10 years that we've been in the competition, we're the number 1 team that has won the most close games. So, as a team, we're pretty confident that we can finish off games. There's always circumstances in different games, and when you have a player that's played the day before, on the day and miss your ruck, there's a few things you get add up, and we're not going to spend too much time on this particular game. We'll get on with the next one, and that'll be worth 4 points.
Do you think you rushed it too much trying to score in those last few minutes because the long kicks and there weren't percentages with it?
There were still some opportunities, as you said, Sean going through the 50 and handballing, and I suppose David Roden had an opportunity to pass and kick it out of bounds. So there was opportunities for us to be even closer, and who knows when it gets that close. But as I said, they stuck at it, and they'll be pleased to.
That's Mark Williams, of course, at his press conference after the game, and just obviously disappointed, which you would be, but I've got no doubt they will bounce back for sure.
Probably a bit stiff with Brogan, though, wasn't it? You lose a big ruck on a big man like that.
That unsettles you, no question.
Mind you, Adelaide lost Bock too, which is one of their better
They knew he
players.
wasn't going to play, but Dean Brogan got into the warm-up. Shuts, welcome back. You've been down in the room, but any reports? Any report on injuries at all?
Mate, there is a bit actually, but let's just say one thing. I've never seen the Crows so happy after a win in all my time. As I said earlier, Neil Craig was standing there to the entrance to the rooms. Every board member, every official came past and gave him the biggest bear hug of all time. I think Johnny Reid lifted him off the ground. He was going that well. But some bad news on the injury front though for the Crows. Kenny, he'll be in slight doubt next week with a thigh strain. Well, I say slight doubt because that's the official line from the club.
Could if you come off at quarter time.
You wouldn't have thought so, which is going to be bad news too in the big man department because Craigie says that Bock will only be 50-50 for next week, and same with Ben Rutten. They'd expect Ben Rutten to miss next week at this stage. If they were to play again tomorrow, Rutten wouldn't play. So not looking good there. In terms of the voting for the Showdown medal, Simon Goodwin, 7 people voted tonight, including Josh and Cage. Goody got 7 best on grounds, maximum 21 votes. Second was David Roden with 9 votes, and third was Jason Tawney with 7 votes. So it was Goody's medal all the way. Interestingly, Craigie and Mark Williams head to head. Craigie now leads 6-2. That is probably, he's one of, if not the only coach who has a better head-to-head record against Mark Williams in the whole competition.
Well
done. But on the bad side, there is some bad news too. There was a bad fight in the Crows Tavern 2 tonight, towards the end of the game. So I'm not sure whether it was supporters from one club fighting another supporters from another club.
How many in a bad fight? How many?
Well, put it this way, I was
People
speaking to a
injured,
couple of police officers on the way over to the rooms just before the game finished, and let's just say there was a few people a little tipsy, and we were walking around, and we just shook our heads and looked at each other, and they said, "You think that's bad? You should see what happened in the Crows Tavern a little bit earlier." There was a few people that needed to be treated for cuts and bruises and so forth. So maybe more to come of that, I'm not sure.
Tell us about the joke who tried to jump the fence.
Well, funny, in the first quarter, obviously the Crows weren't travelling too nicely, burning the footy on goal. A bloke probably from about 8-10 rows back has decided he's had enough, and this is one thing that might have to be looked at with those current benches. In the old system, obviously, in the old concrete dugouts, the players are away, tucked underground a little bit, and yet there's a fence that goes right up to the concrete. There's probably about 2 feet either side of these new dugouts where people can slink through, and there's just a little chain there. This bloke, obviously 10 rows back, thought he'd had enough, walked on down, hung his head in, tried to get in. There was Nathan Van Berlo sitting closest to him, gave him a spray before one of the security guards, a lady security guard, came over and pushed him back.
They are idiots, honestly.
But there was plenty I must admit, out of all the Crows games and Power games I've been to tonight, there seems to be more drunken supporters in the outer than there has been in the last 16 weeks. Tell you what, ban drinking at football.
Well, it's ridiculous.
I know they never will, but that's the only way you'll stop it.
That's obviously what started the fight down on the tap. There's a bloke being half smashed.
Bit of feeling there, you'd imagine. You want to whip through the calls, Coach?
Yeah.
Thanks, Shuts, for that. Terrific
worries,
work
boys.
tonight. You dry now?
Still a little bit wet.
Okay. Good luck to you. Hi, Greg.
G'day, guys. I'm a little bit concerned with what Mark Williams was saying. He gave no credit to the Crows players and the Crows team.
No, he did. He gave Greg gave a lot of credit to the Crows.
No, he was he was very negative. I just want to say the Crows supporters need to enjoy this week. Go to work and
hearing what you want to hear there, Greg. He gave plenty of credence to.
You're not right there, Greg. Did not. He came up with excuses of why Port did not win.
He was asked the questions about his side. He said
he gave no credit to why Crows won.
Greg, you're not listening,
very
mate.
ordinary.
No, you're not listening, Greg. That was terrible. Thanks for that. Let's go to Korea. Hello, Simon.
Korea.
G'day, guys. How you going?
Greg should.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Long-time listener, first-time caller from Korea.
Korea. Whereabouts in Korea?
In the Sheraton Hotel in Korea, just drinking some nice Hardy's Shiraz.
Oh, beautiful.
KG would appreciate that.
I'd appreciate it very much, actually. When I leave you in about 15 minutes, I'll be
We'll having one ourselves.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You Crow man, Simon?
No, I'm a Fremantle man, but just listening to the game tonight, just wondered whether Craigie out coach Choco tonight.
Well, I think, where's Chris? Chris, I reckon tonight he did win the honours.
Oh, no, I got his matchups right.
Yeah.
And we've been critical of him over the last couple of weeks, but got him dead set right. I mean, Van Berlo and Chad worked a treat. Stevens on Motlop was a beauty. So everything he did tonight pretty well turned to gold, I reckon.
Correct, but you wouldn't. Could you say that he out-coached Choco? Choco didn't do much.
The moves are good tonight. No, he had him
they
covered.
were fantastic, Van Berlo. Yeah,
But they held
shut down their midfield.
They held their structure better. I mean, Port. How many times did Port break through the middle and have nothing to kick them when the game's on the line?
Yeah.
Surely have a bloke in a goal square.
No, I think Craig did well tonight, we have been critical in recent weeks.
We have. You have especially.
Hey, just on a player, Nathan Cracker, Josh, is he a favoured son out there at the moment? I mean, he's played a lot of games when guys can't get games. Very rarely has more than 7 or 8 possessions.
Yeah, struggled
He gets
tonight.
a game. These conditions are not a Nathan Cracker type game. They've got plenty of players that can have pace like Pearce and the Burgoyne boys But, I mean...
Gee, you're not bad. Like, the bloke's rang from Korea and you've cut him off.
Oh, he's still there. I'm just saying, Nathan Cracker... You still there, Simon?
Still here, Will. Still here, Will.
Sorry, you got another point?
Put another coin in the meter.
Keep peddling.
I think Fremantle are gone.
Fremantle are gone. Well, you were spot on there. Fremantle are gone. Good on you, Simon. Have another Hardy Shiraz for us too. Good on you. 822-300-00.
He's like all the way from Korea, spent $30 on a phone call,
and
got cut off.
We rang him back.
Just to say Freo are gone?
He said that.
I know.
Oh, you're saying he?
How much Shiraz can a bloke drink?
You haven't answered my Cracker question. Josh first. Well, should he be in the side?
Look, I'm a big rat for Brad Symes, and I've said it week after week. I can't believe Brad Symes cannot get a game in that power side when you've got, as you just said, a guy like Nathan Cracker who tonight admittedly battled, didn't suit him, but you've got a guy like Brad Symes getting 30-plus touches every week at Centrals and can't get a sniff.
I just think a question has to be asked, that's all. You've answered it well.
Look, I think
you've asked it.
Thanks, Keith. Hello, Keith, sorry.
How you going, KG?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you, Keith.
Yeah, me too. Listen, I've got to agree with a couple of callers back. Choco, full of excuses for my mind.
Oh.
And, and it happens every time. Neil Craig, he's up front, he's honest, he gives an honest analysis, and he gets canned every time. And here's Choco, all year, and he did it last year, full of excuses.
He didn't make excuses. He said at one stage during the interview, he said, I'm not making excuses.
They said the Crows are playing for their lives, and they played well. They played very well today.
What do you want him to say? What did you want him to say?
To my mind, he's always full of excuses. Anyway, the reason for the call is I don't think anyone mentioned it and the weeks leading up either. What about the draw? I mean, I don't know how the AFL draw works, but it seems to me that the Power have played a lot of the lesser teams this year.
They've had a good draw.
Finished out of the 8 last year, like
Carlton and Melbourne and Richmond.
Carlton, Melbourne, all the teams that finished out of the 8 last year, I reckon they've played a couple of times, and I reckon is that the policy?
I think it goes round in a bit of a circle, doesn't it? Over 3 years, over a 3 year period.
Three top 8 sides and 3 or 4 bottom 8 sides.
Okay, because I remember a few years back it used to be, I'm sure it was a few years back, if you finished in the top 8, you play the top 8 teams twice.
No, it's different now. It's on a rotation.
Yeah.
But don't forget, Keith, they beat Fremantle on their home soil, they beat Collingwood away, and they beat Melbourne away, which have traditionally been tough games. So they've had a few good away wins as well, Port Adelaide.
Yeah, exactly. It just seems to me that we've come up against the better teams, and I think that's why, with a couple of injuries, and you look at Sydney and even West Coast, they've not been the force that they have been. And I think that all those 3 teams who have been the dominant sides in the last 3 years have all come against the harder teams.
But don't forget, Port Adelaide had a shocking year last year. Port Adelaide were a bottom side last year.
Yeah, well, I know they were a bottom side, but did they play the top sides twice last year?
Oh, well, I think we're clutching at straws, Keith. But Crows are good tonight, really good.
Oh, I've got a call from Scotland now. G'day, Neil.
Hello, KG.
Mate, whereabouts are you?
In Scotland with Belinda and family, my daughter.
Oh, Nodder.
Yes, Nodder.
Hello, Neil. Not a Danzy.
Yeah, not a Danzy. Hello, Nodder.
I've been listening to the call.
You with Brownie and Kate, are you?
No, I'm with Belinda. My daughter Belinda, and David and Maddie, my daughter and her family.
Good stuff.
This is Nodder Danzy, the former South Australian great cricketer. Nodder. And Nodder, are you a Crows or a Power man?
Oh, I'm a Geelong man.
Come on, Nodder.
I want South Australian teams to win, of course I do that, but the family are all very much Crows.
Well, they would have enjoyed the game tonight, Nod.
I listened to it all the time, Kenny. It was really, really great.
How long are you over there for?
I've been away with the St. Peter's boys cricket team. That was great. We played 18 matches or so, and I'll be home in about a fortnight. So that's good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We'll see you down the fish shop with Cam Thompson, Nodder.
Yeah, say hello to Cam for me, will you, too?
Yeah.
But great call, fellas. It was really, really great to hear it, and it was really, really good. Look forward to next week as well.
And Nodder, Cam said he got your postcode.
Yeah, good boys. Good to hear from you all.
Good on you, Nodder.
Neil
Great
Dancy,
man. Absolutely a gentleman.
His daughter Belinda over there. Terrific stuff.
Not a dandy.
Let's go to David. Hi, David.
G'day, fellas. How you going?
Good, David. Thank you.
I just got to say, just coming home from the game, and it's got to be, regardless of the result, one of the saddest days. I've been a passionate footy supporter since I was 7 years old. I'm 48 now, so that's a fair while. Played footy at the highest level that I could. And if Brett Burton's mark is not a mark, then footy's dead. Rest in peace, football. That, in normal years, would be mark of the year.
I should have been. It's a mistake today.
For mark of the year, and if that is not a mark, then football is dead. I'm sick of zoning. I'm sick of flooding. I'm sick of round and round a rosy basketball on a footy field. That was the nail in the coffin for me tonight. I have lost my passion for football, and it's the saddest day of my life.
Can I just say, we can't blame the umpires here. This is not an umpiring problem. It's an AFL problem. It's a match.
There's no push there, though, Chris.
Oh, no, but the hand was there. I mean, you can't blame umpires for this. You've got to play the review. People who make the rules, they are the problem here.
Well, Chris, I said from day one to Studley, this hands in the back interpretation was going to create all sorts of problems for umpires. And look, tonight, the Brett Burton is
He barely touched anyone there tonight. That was a great mark. He didn't push. He just put his hands there.
He didn't touch anybody. And I agree with David. That this was always going to create problems.
But still a great game. That aside, I mean, we really enjoyed the game up here. The contest was fantastic.
But it's so frustrating when you see it.
Yeah, it is. Could have cost the Crows a game.
Well, that aside, that's one of the great things about our code, is to see a bloke jump and take a spec.
Well, they relook at the rule.
It should never been an issue. Like, it shouldn't even have been a question that it's a free kick. I mean, you can't take that out of our game. No. And they have.
But it is our game.
Look.
I know.
Make a phone call, will you? Flex a bit of muscle, will you?
Waste of time.
Get some of your mates onto them.
Thanks, David. Cheer up, mate. Though it's not the end of the world. It was a bad decision, but a great game of footy. You enjoyed it, Bone? I know you did. I heard you in the background.
I did, but David.
Hello, exactly. Hello, Matthew.
G'day, guys. How you going?
Hi, Matthew.
How's your night going? All right?
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
yours?
great, thanks.
I went to the game tonight a little bit sceptical of, Chad Corns, good-looking bloke, and I think
What's his looks got to do with his footy?
But I'm getting the footy. But I just thought tonight, they said they were going to tag him. It means he might have had to work, pick the work rate up a little bit and work a bit harder for his possessions, right? And he didn't want to know about it early.
Oh, now that's absolute crap. Now, I'm not going to let you come on this program and bag young Chad Corns, because Chad Corns has had an unbelievable season.
He still played all right tonight, too.
He played well. So you are not getting on out of here.
Thanks, Matthew. Hi, James.
Guys, how are you?
Good, James.
That's good. Look, just a comment earlier that Josh Franco said. I mean, I thought it was a bit disgraceful the way he said about, bad luck about shaking hands and that. I mean, it's all right for Port Adelaide during the year to shake hands or win or lose with other clubs, but all of a sudden it's not good against the Crows.
But why do you have to shake hands, though,
James?
James?
It's not a matter about shaking hands. At the end of the day, you're in there to do a battle. When you win or lose, doesn't really matter. The thing is, if someone comes up to you, just like last year, someone went up to Chad Corns and he turned his back. Now, he did. I was there at the game. I saw it happen. But, look, that's the respect. I think Chad's a good player and all, so I'm not blaming Chad. But I'm just saying at the end of the day, it's good for one to do, win or lose or draw, doesn't matter.
It's not
with other clubs,
compulsory,
but
though.
all of a sudden you turn your back. I mean, that's not the way Port Adelaide, the history of Port Adelaide, they were always a tough team, but they were a fair team. And Foster Williams and people like Jack Odie will be turning in their graves, and that's not the Port Adelaide way. Okay, so Josh, just quickly, you got kids as well, and you don't want them to, treat their fellow sports players like that. At the end of the day, you're there to play a game. Win, lose or draw, shake hands, off the field, that's it, finished. That's why fans, hang on, that's why fans start getting aggros when they see things like that. It's not really right. You want to lead KG, you're a Port or Adelaide, doesn't matter. You're happy when they both play well. But at the end of the day, you don't want any animosity after the game.
Do you shake hands in the crowd, James?
Well, we have a bit of a banter, but at the end of the day, you say, well done, too good.
It's fantasy land.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, James.
Chris, even going back to your era and that, it wasn't compulsory. Some guy could belt you all day. You don't exactly go and chase
try and belt him on the way off. Well, I think in days gone by, it used to be maybe your opponent, and that's
it. You don't go looking for people, do you?
Not in a fit.
No. Now a lot of teams do. And you know who mainly does it? The bottom teams that get belted. They sit out there for 5 minutes and try and shake everyone's hand, and they've just been smashed.
Tell you what I've never done is stay on the ground afterwards and have a chat and have a laugh with the bloke.
Yeah. After being smashed.
I can't cop it. I shake, get off, and then because you used to be able to go to the bar afterwards.
And generally your man.
And that was it. Then I'm in the dugout and I'm bagging the other 19 as I'm going.
Okay, we'll take two more calls. Hello, Mick.
G'day, how you going? I was just listening about the Brett Burton mark, and the second replay showed he didn't hold it. He didn't carry it down to the ground. No, he didn't hold it. It bounced out of his hands, and he hit the ground, and he didn't hold it. But it doesn't matter anyway.
Hit the ground. He was about 8 feet up. He really held it for a while.
He was so high. He was so high. The first one looks like he marked it. The second replay looked like he marked it. But front on, you see it, and he didn't hold it. It bobbled out, and he hit the ground.
But he paid a free kick anyway. He still paid in the back.
Yeah, but that's right. But I mean, it doesn't matter here or there. But it wasn't a mark anyway. But what I wanted to say was that. My question is, why was Peter Burgoyne, who's not the greatest man under pressure, kicking out from full back? And why was he taking 10 minutes to kick it? He was waiting for the flag to wave. Then he waited 10 seconds till everyone was bobbled up. Then he kicked to a contest.
Funny with Peter tonight. 5 times he kicked to himself, and I reckon got out of the square 1 metre. Now is that stat building? Or is that when you've been getting 30 a week?
That's stat building.
It is, Chris. I mean, if you play on, you'd like to run 10, don't you?
Yeah.
Clear it out a bit.
Thanks, Mick. Take the last call. Hello, Darren.
Be careful, mate. He's about a yard away. He can hear you.
Yes, Darren.
G'day, guys. I'll be quick. Just on tonight's umpiring was appalling. That was a mark to Brett Burton. There are also 2 free kicks, clear free kicks, missed a Port about 30 metres out, directly in front in the last quarter. One to Nathan Cracker, where he's clearly dragged off the ball.
Yeah, he was.
And also, I'm a Port supporter, but the Crows played better, played with more heart tonight, and just enjoy the Wing Crow supporters and stop ringing up making cheap shots at Port about not shaking hands and Mark Williams making excuses. That's all rubbish. You played better and enjoy the win.
Yeah. Thanks, Darren. Okay. Shaking hands is not compulsory.
No, it's an individual
Look, I think if you're coming off the ground, and Brian, you might disagree with this.
I personally would.
If you're coming off the ground and a player or your direct opponent came up and actually went out of his way to shake your hand, I wouldn't turn my
What if you've
back
been
on that.
belted all day, Ken? Someone just belted you, smashed you, and would you shake his hand?
I'd shake hands.
Would you?
I tell you,
but you don't go looking. You don't. I think Josh's point. You don't go looking.
Don't look for it.
If it's there,
some clubs do.
Yeah, I agree.
That's their point in
exactly
the
right.
All right, Josh, you're voting, old son.
Okay, I'll start with the 5AA.
I never look for you, Wildy.
You did. You used to belt me on the way out.
Wilson, can you do me a favour tonight?
Shut
up.
I think you say buy me a drink and I will if you...
Sorry to interrupt. See,
why are you picking on me now?
Comment while he made.
You've been jumping.
I've carried you all night and you pick on me in the last minute. That's a cheap shot. I will not shake your hand.
Here we go again.
I will not shake your hand.
Josh?
You've been carrying
Sorry to interrupt you, Wills, but can I do the awards?
all night.
Sorry, Josh.
Thanks, Ken.
Sorry,
Okay.
yeah.
The Fiveaa Satisfactory
Ken said it, go on me.
Goal of the year contender. Had to give it to Brady Ebert. He kicked a long bomb in the third quarter with a wet, heavy ball. It was a fantastic goal, so he gets the chocolates there. The Fiveaa Amadio, moving Juice Wine's mark of the year contender.
Can I have a guess?
Yep.
Westhoff?
Yeah, he took a couple of crackers.
Took two beauties.
I think one in the third quarter and one late in the last when he kicked the goal in the goal square. So he gets the award tonight. The Fiveaa SA Lotteries Keno Rising Star Award. With Keno, there's more winners more often. I have to get to Westhoff. 3 goals. It was pretty good. I think the only other 2 out there were Travis Boak, who didn't have a huge impact in the game, and Cracker, obviously.
You noticed him yet?
Didn't get much of the footy. And the $10,000 Yellow Corporation Max Bashir medal. Yellow Cabs are a part of Yellow Corporation. Just quickly, 1 vote, Peter Burgoyne off the halfback flank. Still had 30 touches. And I must admit, I gave it to him because I couldn't really find a third.
Too many others.
Too many others to get the 1 vote.
Any special mentions? Kane Corns and McLeod Goodgill?
Yeah, look, I'd say Kane Corns.
Certainly
I reckon it was even.
I thought Thurston's played right tonight.
Yeah, I thought he was
not too many people did much in him.
Up until 3/4 time, I would have given Kane a vote. But McLeod sort of broke free in that last
fair
quarter.
enough.
2 votes, Brady Ebert, 4 goals, another great game by Brett. And 3 votes, David Roden. 24 touches.
Good on you, Josh. Bone, the Crows' old son. Come on.
Yeah, goal of the year contender thanks to Satisfac Credit Union. The Birdman. Anyone want to disagree with Burton's classic goal? Fiveaa Amadio moving Juice Wine's mark of the year. Contender Brett Burton would have won it. Nick Gill wins it instead with a ripper catch. Absolute beauty. He's catching it beautifully. He's kicking a little better. I think he's 50% tonight. What do you bet? 500 tonight.
Hit the ball, yeah.
Take that all day, every day if you're Nick Gill. The Fiveaa SA Lotteries Keno Rising Star Award. As Josh said, Keno more winners more often.
Who got that?
Gee, I mean, what a great bunch. I mean, does Jason Portplessis qualify?
No.
Okay, then Richard Douglas gets an honourable mention, but probably doesn't get a vote.
No votes.
The $10,000 Yellow Corp Max Bashir medal. Yellow Cabs are a part of Yellow Corp, as we know, and Ronnie Barton shouted me a little Shiraz before the game.
Well, where
thanks
was
to Ronnie Barton. You were working. I was drinking Shiraz.
Is that where you went?
Correct.
You bloody God.
Now,
I thought you sounded inebriated on the end of the night.
Yeah, like a thimble.
A thimble full of Shiraz. It must have been expensive.
Trying to get a drink
Tell
out of
Ron
Ron.
to give it more
Not easy getting a drink out of Ron. 1 vote. Will, you said Brett Burton. Cage, I actually didn't get your votes. Who would you have given your 3-2-1
no
to?
idea. I've cast my votes.
You like Tawney and Goodwin?
Oh, Tawney, Goodwin 3, Tawney 2.
Yeah.
Burton 1?
No, I gave it to Nathan Van Berlo anyway. I overrode you. I thought he was pretty reasonable. 2 votes to Jason Tawney was outstanding. 3 votes to Simon Goodwin. Dead set, sir.
You're a power broker, aren't you?
No, that's good.
Just flexed a little muscle for your comment that it wasn't going to rain all night. It poured all night.
And I'm not shaking your hand either.
Wills, just be quiet, please.
You buy me a drink?
This is very important. No. Now, Bone, the Sunday roast tomorrow, you're on it?
Sunday roast, I'm on from 10 to 12 tomorrow, so give us a call. Love to take your calls for those that couldn't get through tonight.
I'm not ringing.
So it's a good program. That's the good news. The bad news is I'm back with you again next week. Okay, hope you've enjoyed our call of the big game today. Adelaide home by 8 points. Thanks for your company. Join the Bone tomorrow, of course, at 10 o'clock for the Sunday roast. And if it's footy you want, stay with Fiveaa.
See you, Cage.
Bye, everyone.
This is it.
I'll take it from here.
An era comes to an end August the 8th at Wallace Academy, showing its last flick ever. After this one, there are no more. Make sure you're there for Die Hard 4, the latest instalment of the famous Die Hard dynasty, starring Bruce Willis, and the final instalment at Wallace Academy.
Why'd you bring a cop into my command center? Command center. It's a basement.
Tickets just $20 for a double. You have to hurry. Numbers are limited. Die Hard 4 rated M, the farewell flick for Wallace Academy, Wednesday, August the 8th at 7 p.m.
You killed a helicopter with a car. How's our bullets?
You can book through the McGuinness McDermott Foundation, all proceeds going to that great cause. Thanks to the Wallace family, 20th Century Fox, and $13.95 Adelaide's Fiveaa.
Be sure to cast your vote for the 2007 Adelaide Airport Taxi Driver of the Year and be in the running to win $1,000. When you come across a cabbie who goes above and beyond the call of duty, someone whose knowledge and skills are exceptional, that is well presented with a squeaky clean cab and who provides you with excellent service, make sure you ask them for a nomination form and get your entry in. You could even win $1,000 just for voting. The 2007 Adelaide Airport Taxi Driver of the Year for cabbies who go that extra mile.
Hello,
Hello, this is Franca from Roller Blinds, the window shutter people. At Roller Blinds, we don't have 50% off sales because at Roller Blinds we have genuine prices. All the time, 365 days of the year. Deal direct with myself and my family. We sell, manufacture and install roller shutters. Roller Blinds, that's ROLLA.
As the water crisis worsens, how can you justify allowing such a precious resource running from your roof and into the stormwater? Especially when SA Rainwater Tanks supply and install quality global brand poly tanks. Available in a huge range of sizes, all with a 10-year warranty and available for immediate delivery. 5,000 litre tanks, not $1,500, now just $1,220. Get your water tank right now by calling SA Rainwater Tanks on 8244 663. 8244 663.
7 days a week, 24 hours a day, hungry people flock to a cafe in Mile End called Cafe de Ville.
I still can't work out how I can get somebody to come in a ball gown and a dinner suit and sit at one table, and the next table is a guy with tongs, shorts and a T-shirt.
It's the food, Villy.
It's harmony.
Nah, it's the food.
I still haven't worked it out.
Mate, it's the food.
I most well never will.
Food, that's it.
This cafe has become almost a cult thing.
Because of the food.
$13.95 Adelaide's Fiveaa with Daniel Norton.
And a very good evening. Yes, it is Daniel Norton with you on this wet and wintry Saturday evening. I trust you've had a fantastic day thus far and a good night. I'll tell you what, for Crow supporters, you would be on top of the moon. Very excited indeed as your side has claimed Showdown 23, of course, and gee whiz, it's tightening up. 12-11 in favour of Port Adelaide now, those showdowns. So it has changed in recent years, that is for sure. We had a lot of callers, obviously, after the show in regards to Showdown 23. And if you didn't get through and you want to have a bit more of a chat just to me, feel free to do so. 8223 AAAA. You can talk about whatever you like, though. The lines are open right away. Connie's out there manning the phones. She's been manning the phones, doing all sorts of things with our Radiothon, Kicking for Kids, over the last 24 hours, which was absolutely terrific here at Fiveaa. And now she's manning the phones just for me, just for the next hour or so, or 55 minutes, taking your calls. So you can talk about whatever you like. You might want to talk about the footy. Did you have a bit of a showdown party at your place, or are you still travelling home, celebrating maybe on the way home? Take it easy because it is a little bit wet and damp out there on the roads, of course, still. Make sure you take it easy and get home in one piece. 8223 AAAA, of course, is the number to call if you'd like to be part of the show, or you can also email on air at 5AA.com.au. But if you've been hiding under a rock or you've been trapped somewhere over the last 3 hours or so, Adelaide did defeat Port, can you believe, by 8 points in Showdown 23. 9-19-73 to Port Adelaide. 10-5-65. Port kicking more goals, but having considerably less scoring shots. So Adelaide probably should have won by even more in the end. Simon Goodwin winning the Showdown medal for a terrific display, best on ground. However, that win still has Adelaide, well, they're still in 11th position, 2 wins behind Port Adelaide, who have dropped now to 4th position on the AFL ladder. So still plenty of work ahead of the Adelaide Crows if they'd like to see some September action. Port Adelaide, of course, still a bit of work ahead of them now to try and cement themselves in that top 4, because it is getting very, very tight there on the upper half there of the AFL ladder. Other results today for Beaumont Tiles for your footy tipping competitions. Collingwood defeated Carlton by 24 points at the MCG in front of a crowd of over 56,000. It was the Maggies 18-12-120 to Carlton 14-12-96, with Anthony Rocker kicking 5. Travis Cloke kicked 4, while for Carlton, Brendan Favola kicked 6 goals at Skilled Stadium, Geelong. Aren't they on a roll? This is almost frightening. 13 wins in a row. Geelong 21-13-139, defeating the Tigers, the hapless Richmond 11-3-69, a margin of 70 points in that game. Steve Johnson kicked 5, Matthew Stokes kicking 3 for the Cats, while for Richmond, Matthew Richardson kicked 4, Nathan Brown kicked 3 goals up forward, and of course Adelaide got to travel to Skilled Stadium next Sunday to take on Geelong, so that will be an interesting game indeed. The Gabba tonight as well, Brisbane 10-17-77 defeated the Kangaroos 5-10-40, a margin there of 37 points, 6 goals, the difference between the two sides. Simply put it, Jonathan Brown, he kicked 6 goals up forward, and Brisbane certainly making their way up the AFL ladder towards the end of season 2007. The Kangaroos are lost there. I think that's their first loss only in the last 6 weeks, so they've had a pretty good run indeed. Now, I'm a bit nasally. I've had the flu all week. I'm a little bit depressed and grumpy because I'm a Port Adelaide supporter, so go easy. I mean, I need your calls, 8223 0000 right through until midnight. Connie has just been giving me all sorts of flack over the last 45 minutes since the game's finished. She's a Crow supporter. For Dave, who called up a little bit earlier, off air, trying to get on after the game, Connie is a Crow supporter. She's got red, yellow and blue blood going through her veins, so bad luck, Dave. You just didn't get on for whatever reason. You can give me a call, though. You can have a crack at me. But no, I'm a Port supporter and I'm depressed. So please, give me a call and make my next 50 minutes nice and easy. Other footy results today in the SANFL. Central's defeated the Eagles by 10 points out at Elizabeth, 12-13-85 to the Eagles 11-9-75. At Broad Spectrum, Glenelg defeated Westies by 12 points, 13-7-85 to Westies 11-7-73. While at Prospect North, far too good for Norwood by 57 points. It was the Roosters 18-8-116 to Norwood 8-11-59. 8223 0000. Let's get straight into some calls. We'll go through the weather and all the lotto results shortly, but let's go to Matt on a mobile. Hello, Matt.
How you going, Daniel?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Just been to the game.
And you a Crows man or a Power man?
I'm actually a Carlton man, 51%, but Adelaide 49%. So it was a good result.
Right, so you've got, you sort of lean towards two sides, so you...
Yeah. No, I'm a die-hard Carlton man, but we do go and see the Crows, so it was good win for them.
What was the atmosphere there tonight? Because the boys said it was reasonably good. I mean, fairly wet, but a crowd of over 42,000. Obviously, the atmosphere would have been still pretty good.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, good crowd, and everyone was pretty vocal. So Port were vocal early, and then when the Crows hit the front, I think they dropped away, and the Crows fans took over. So
can imagine.
It was good.
Matt, did you expect the Crows to win? Like going into the game, did you give them any? I mean, you give a side a chance, but any chance really?
Well, look, I tipped them in my footy tips, but only because I'm that far behind that I have to go for an odd roughie here and there. So that was the toss-up game of the week, I thought. So,
yeah.
Except for last night. So, so that was a good result. But, it was good. Good to go there. The rain was a bit intermittent there. But I do have a question. I don't know if it's been asked tonight to the guys on before or not. But normally the Crows, if you're in the members and you're looking out to, from there you're looking out, normally on the right-hand side, Craigie will sit in that box, and the Crows will gather around the front of the right-hand box, if you like, and that's normally where the Crows' injured players sit and everything. But tonight they're in the left-hand box, the further northern area rather than the southern box.
Yeah. And
I didn't know the reason behind that.
Well, from my understanding, now this is not 100%, but I think basically what's happened is when Port Adelaide play at Amy, of course, they use the right-hand race. From my understanding, it's been redeveloped by the SANFL, and Port Adelaide use that for all their home games. So it's decked out in black, white and teal, and they've got all their stuff down in that actual change rooms.
I'm with you. Right.
So they always come out of that race. So that is Port Adelaide's race that has been developed by the SANFL. So from my understanding, I think they just kept it that way. The Crows, of course, always use the outer side, and in being that way, they've obviously used the visitors' bench, if you would have it, in this particular situation, obviously just to avoid the fact that Port Adelaide wouldn't come out of their home change rooms and then have to use the other bench.
No point taken. No worries.
I'm pretty sure that's the reason, because I know the SANFL redeveloped those southern change rooms for the Power.
Yeah, understood. No, that would make sense. I just wasn't sure of that. It was a bit odd seeing Mark Williams sit in the coach's box and have Brent Riley and a few of the other injured players, a couple of metres away from him, basically. So
would have been a bit strange.
Exactly, yeah. And what about the SANFL? Who do you barrack for in that?
I'm a Port Adelaide supporter through and through everywhere, mate. So I'm having a bit of a rough trot today. I mean, the Power going down, and and the old Maggies are going to struggle as well. We're playing South tomorrow, so
I know, big game. There's some trouble down at Noarlunga though. So you might be all right. It's do or die for either team. But the Bays had a win today, so that sort of keeps them up there. But whoever loses tomorrow's curtains, well, I mean, if South lose, they're gone. But it'll keep Port in touch if they can have a win.
Absolutely. I think Glenelg have now gone technically 2 games clear of Port. Now, if Port win tomorrow against South, they draw back within a game, and then we've got you guys next week.
Yes,
I believe.
well, that's it. I'm a double blues man.
Oh, sorry. Well, Glenelg next week we've got.
Yeah, no, I'm a double blues man. So go the double blues, and to all the double blues fans out there, good to do the right things, stay with them, because it's going to be a big run into the finals. If we can get over the Eagles, I think we might have them next week, and they push Centrals today. So if we can hold on to that double chance, which is what we need, and probably where we deserve to be, then we should be up there. Hopefully turn it around. But Ricky McGowan, he's been the coach of the year so far in the SANFL, apart from Laird. I mean, he's got the score on the board. But Ricky McGowan, we were expecting probably a bottom 2 finish at the start of the year. But,
amazing.
I know, incredible, isn't it? And he's really injected some blood in there with the coaches he's brought in and everything. So and the recruits, we haven't gone out and got big expensive recruits. We've got the young guys who have come in, and I mean, if we're able to throw in a Chaplin, a Thompson, and a Bentley, Marty Mattner's played one game. Look, if we could get him to qualify for another couple, then you throw those players in, it makes a bit of a difference. So
it's been an outstanding year for the Double Blues, and
it has.
Enjoy tonight's win, and hopefully you get September action definitely with Sturt, and you never know, the Adelaide Crows might get there in the end as well.
Yeah, big game next week, so we'll